Yo guys, welcome back to the Blue Podcast with me, Tom and Ben. How you doing, mate?
Good, thanks.
And we're here with Dornie today from F1 Dornie. How you doing?
Hi, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. It's actually the first guest to have asked me that. Thank you for all the support lately, guys, on all the videos. We're still trying to get to 400 subscribers very soon. We're almost there. We upload these Thursday, 4 p.m. Check out our merch if you haven't already. And our Twitter is at the Blue Podcast One and Instagram at the Blue Podcast One. If you want to check us out and give us a little DM if you want to jump on the podcast, it'll be good to hear from you guys. All right, so this podcast with Dornie, we're going to be talking about a little preview for the next season of F1. Am I saying that right? Season or what else? All right, sweet. A little preview for that. Is there any big things that you guys want to talk about first before we get into it for next season?
A recent thing is, actually, it's not next season, is it? But I guess we could talk about it. Honda are leaving as an engine supplier.
Yeah.
Which is, that's not next season, is it? It's the season after.
Start of 2022, they're going to be gone.
Right. So Red Bull are basically going to have to find a new engine supplier, which is interesting. And because in my opinion, they'll probably, out of the ones that are currently in the sport, it'll be Renault, and they don't have a good relationship with Renault because Mercedes are not going to give it them. Ferrari is unlikely they'll give it, and they probably won't even want Ferrari's engine because it's rubbish. But it might be better that season, I don't know. But it's definitely an interesting one. I don't know what you think about it.
Yeah, I think they're going to have to go crawling back to Renault, which will be a bit awkward for all parties involved. But obviously, Renault can't really turn them down either. They're going to have to supply them. And obviously, they left them for a reason. So I don't think they're going to be too happy about going back. It definitely would be interesting to watch that one play out.
Yeah. I was speaking to a friend who's into F1 who's saying there's a possibility of a new engine supplier, but I don't know how true that is.
I know, well, they've not really announced it, and by the press release they kind of know, or they knew that Honda were leaving them for about a month, and they've not kind of patched things up with Renault in that time. So it kind of leads you to think that they're maybe trying to hustle something behind the scenes.
Right.
Whether that, how true that be, we don't really know at this point in time, but again, it'll be interesting if they can find someone to join.
Yeah, it's true.
Why was the reason that they left Renault before? Was there a reason, or just
there was a bit of a breakdown in the relationship because the Renault power unit just wasn't powerful enough, basically. And Red Bull are wanting to be at the top, and we're nowhere near, and still aren't. With Honda, anyway. Verstappen's doing a cracking job, even with a Honda engine. But
the Honda engine seems to finally have settled in and actually be providing, because obviously they were with AlphaTauri or Toro Rosso the kind of year before, and then Red Bull the year later with both teams, and it finally seems to kind of be working well with both the cars. And I think it is just they've been again a bit vague on the press release. I'm not sure if it's funds or related to kind of what's happening in the world at the minute, or kind of quite why they've left.
I think I did saw something about Honda were saying that it's to do with them moving to a more greener thing, but that's might be press spin sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, if the unfortunate thing is, if Verstappen had a Mercedes engine,
he does break up sometimes.
it'd be up there. What did you hear? I'm saying that if Verstappen had a Mercedes engine, it'd be up there.
I think, well, definitely think if someone had a Mercedes, they'd be up there.
Yeah, but I mean, in terms of quality of driver, it'd be challenging Hamilton easily.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, there's a little sneak preview to the 2022 season.
Well, that reminds me of a question we actually spoke about before. Of is Hamilton and Mercedes that good, or is it just that the rest of them aren't good? If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Just wondering what you
I
think.
think. Yeah. I mean, I've answered that question.
You answered that. Yeah.
No, I definitely think that Mercedes are so in sync. The team is so well put together. They are so united behind a cause and are just on it. And since the reg changes in 2014, they've just been on the pace, and they got behind, or they adapted really well to those reg changes and have just been at the forefront and able to kind of use the fact they are ahead to keep kind of getting better, whereas everyone else is still playing catch up. And I think it's only now that everyone has just about managed to catch up, and we're getting these results like Monza and the kind of best of the rest hack. They're all so close now, and obviously we're going into 2022 again now with a reg change. But no, I definitely do think that Mercedes are kind of really worthy of the position they're in, and that they have worked so hard to achieve what they've achieved. It's not kind of just been, as much as it does look like an easy win to them, and it looks fairly easy at this point in time, like they have worked so hard to get where they are.
I think like what we said in a previous podcast where we did F1 was saying that it's a mixture of, yes, Mercedes are so good, but also the rest of the teams, like you say, have been playing catch up. So it's a mixture of the two. And I think again, it's with Hamilton. Hamilton is so good, but obviously the same with the cars. Everyone else is still playing catch up. So it's like you can't be like, oh, it's not valid. Like they're just so much better, so it's just easy. But you can't be like, oh, the rest are just as good, because they're not. It's quite obvious that they're not. But it's still a valid thing, because like you say, they've worked hard as a team, and they're very, very, very well run, which always happens when it's German. Yeah.
Well, kind of on the point of how good Mercedes are, there's now going to be a financial regulation change
Yes.
this season, am I right? To a maximum of $145 million.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm right there. Is that correct?
I think that's about right. Yeah.
I don't know the exact amount.
What do you guys think of that? Obviously, it's a massive change, putting a cap on it, because normally with most sports, the top league, which is, for example, F1, you want to have the best cars and the best drivers. The best drivers driving in the best cars possible. Whereas putting this cap on it kind of means that they won't be driving the best cars possible. Is that true?
I mean, they're trying to sort of make it a bit more even, but in saying that, it's only the top teams that will be able to get to that 145 million mark in terms of spending. So there's still going to be discrepancies in the amount teams are spending, because the lower teams will not be able to get anywhere near that. They'll still be spending in the low, well, I don't know, I don't really know the exact values, but they'll still be spending like 20 million instead of that ridiculous amount of money. So
weren't Ferrari spending about 300, 400 million in a season? Something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, Ferrari spend.
Yeah.
So knows how much, for goodness knows nothing, because they can't put a car together.
It's not really.
Yeah.
Must be because the wife, 7 o'clock. Wi-Fi is not very good for him. What do you think, Dornie, of putting a cap on spending?
I don't know. I think in the society we live in today, you can't really now get away with spending unruly amounts on driving a car in a circle. I do think, in terms of the way the world is progressing, putting a budget cap on is definitely a sensible option and is going to kind of keep them in check, especially when you look at the likes of Formula E, which has got like low carbon and all of that type of things, and then you coming back over to Formula One and it's not nearly as environmentally friendly. So I do think there's so many benefits to putting a budget cap in, and it is going to close in the field hopefully and provide lots of benefits. So yeah, I do think it is a good thing. Obviously there will be some drawbacks to it, but I think the benefits to the lower down the grid teams are going to outweigh the kind of negatives that you might see from some of the bigger teams.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's I think on like the carbon neutral thing from Formula E, isn't there a target to become carbon neutral in Formula One at some point? Is it 2030 or something like that?
Yeah.
You don't seem to think that's going to happen.
But it might be more PR spin, but like that's what they've said. That's what they've said. But I don't know how true it'll be. Yeah.
I remember, Ben, you've been mentioning some changes in drivers.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, I don't really know the ins and outs. I've got a list of apparently each car will have two. They always have two drivers, don't they?
Yeah.
Sound pretty dumb saying that, but I did. What are the major changes that are happening with drivers next season?
Well, I mean, the major one is sort of a triad of moves with Vettel going to Aston Martin, which is Racing Point this season, and he'll have a Mercedes engine. Doesn't mean that he'll do well, because he might still make millions of mistakes. Ricciardo going to McLaren, who are getting a Mercedes engine instead of Renault, so that'll be interesting. And Alonso not Renault, yeah. Alonso's going to Renault, who are going to be called Alpine, I think.
I'm not too sure what they're doing with their name, and it's kind of got brushed by the wayside again. They're waiting on a decision.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Because I heard it like the last Grand Prix, the commentators saying, "Oh, they're going to be known as Alpine or something." But has that been like they thinking about?
I don't know. I feel like they maybe are, but I don't know exactly how their name's going to look.
I don't know why they can't just stay as Renault.
Everyone loves the name change.
Yeah, true. It's true. But yeah, that's the major one. I don't know what you think about that in terms of differences in the championship.
Yeah, I think there is a lot of changes coming into the 2021 season. As you've said, Seb is going to Aston Martin, which I think will be such a good move for him. Obviously, his time with Ferrari hasn't really gone as planned, and I do think him getting out of that team, going to a team which has proved itself as being competitive and is really on the up at the minute, I think that's such a sensible choice, and I definitely think that's going to work out well. Daniel going to McLaren, he managed to get lots of coin from going to Renault for a year and a half, and then left ship. But no, again, I think with the Mercedes engine in the McLaren, that's going to look really good as well. Hopefully he's come so close to getting some podiums, so I definitely do think next year he might be able to get on that podium with McLaren. And then who else? Alonso coming back, I don't even want to talk about. And then obviously Carlos is replacing Seb at Ferrari as well, which will be interesting to watch and see how Charles and Carlos kind of team up together.
You were talking about a name change for Renault. Isn't there also going to be a name change for Toro Rosso to becoming Alpha Tauri?
So that happened this year. So last year they were named Toro Rosso, and this year they
looking at old news.
changed their name to AlphaTauri.
You were nearly there. You were nearly there.
Yeah, I was looking at old news. Oh,
No, I think with Sainz going to Ferrari, he's probably thinking, could I have not delayed that for a year? Because they're not going to be competitive next season, really. But I think the regulation change is key for Ferrari being competitive again. Because like we said before, they just throw ridiculous amounts of money at it. So at some point, it's got to click and come good. When that is, I don't know, but yeah, it is an interesting one because like based on this season, the McLaren, even with a Renault entry, is more competitive than the Ferrari. So yeah, there must be psychologically a bit odd for him, but see what happens, I guess.
I've just realised I forgot to mention something at the start.
Oh.
The podcast is also on Spotify for everyone that's listening. The link is in the description now. Should be there. So check that out. Anyway, back to some F1.
Yeah. Yeah. That was the end of it.
So next season, Mercedes will have Hamilton and Bottas still. All right.
Presumably, Hamilton's still not signed. Bottas is signed.
Okay.
Multi-year or 1 year? Unsure, but Bottas is signed.
Okay, so what's all the drama? I know there's a bit of drama happening with Hamilton not signing a new contract with Mercedes yet.
Well, from what I've seen, it's that he wanted to see if Toto Wolff was staying, which I think he is now. So I don't see why he won't sign that contract because Mercedes is still going to be the top team. So,
well, yeah. Well, I was thinking, obviously, from an outside point of view, if Hamilton leaves Mercedes, won't that kind of jeopardize his chance to becoming the best of all time?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there was that at the start of the season, we thought Ferrari was still going to be competitive, so there was that kind of that he could go to Ferrari sort of thing, but that's just gone out the window. So it'd be well, there's no other drives for him basically if he was to leave Mercedes. So it doesn't make any sense. I don't know what you think about that.
Yeah, I don't think there's really, the only other option would have been Hamilton moving to Racing Point, Aston Martin, kind of building that brand. No, I think the only place on the grid for Hamilton is Mercedes, but it's just, if obviously Hamilton is very proactive and very outspoken in the world, and he has received a lot of criticism for kind of advocating for a better world and then racing in Formula One, which doesn't really make much sense. I don't think he'd go to something like Formula E. I don't think that would really fit with him. There's obviously Extreme. He's got his own team coming up there. But yeah, it really does just look like Mercedes are nowhere for Hamilton at the minute. He just says that he doesn't want to discuss money with everything that's going on in the world right now, which I can totally kind of understand. And considering he's on contracts of 40 million or whatever, I can kind of see why he'd rather just sit back, and he kind of knows that the seat's there if he wants it, and it's not going to kind of get taken from under him.
Yeah, I mean, an interesting one with Mercedes as well is with Bottas being the second driver. I don't know if he's signed for a year or 2 years, but it's been touted for a long time that Russell will come in to Mercedes. So depending on how Bottas does, Russell is likely to come in, I think. But I think Bottas kind of got away with it because he wasn't really performing that well a few seasons ago, but then he upped it. So they thought, we'll just keep him for a few more seasons.
I think
he would have brought in.
I think it's hard. Like George, everyone was kind of wanting him to sign for 2021 at Mercedes, and obviously he didn't. But I think George actually has more to give. I really don't think he's getting the most out of that Williams car this season. I think he could actually be doing a lot more, and everyone is just saying that Mercedes seat's ready for him when kind of Bottas leaves or Hamilton leaves. But I think he's maybe getting I don't know if he is, but I think the press are getting quite complacent, or kind of commenters or fans, just assuming that it's his seat, when I think there's definitely been opportunities that he's missed, and kind of he's not quite pushed a lot. And Nicholas Latifi, I think, is going to break George's qualifying record. I think Latifi is going to get a qualifying ahead of George this season. And obviously the likes of Pierre, he could be getting out of the Red Bull program. Like, if he showed his initiative, he could be getting his hands on that Mercedes seat. So I don't think it is kind of set in stone that seat is George's, and I think he does need to kind of really up his game and keep his mind focused on that, because, as I say, Pierre is looking so strong right now, and we kind of know Pierre is not going back to Red Bull. So if he is wanting to move up the grid, where are his options?
Yeah. Another driver that's sort of been linked with Mercedes is Ocon, because is it Toto Wolff is his agent? But we were speaking to I forgot his name, but one of Tom's mate, and he was saying he thinks Ocon is bedded in at Renault now. But would you say that it's still a possibility that he could go to Mercedes?
No, I don't think so. So I don't think he's even part of the Mercedes program anymore, and I don't think his results are near enough showing that he could be put in that seat and actually do anything good.
Yeah, fair enough. I think a lot of it was before this season started, so they didn't have really seen performance yet. But now there's a bit more. There's more data there to look at, really, so you can kind of judge it a bit better. But yeah, that's fair.
So Ferrari next season, who have they got sitting in their seats?
Leclerc and Sainz.
Leclerc and Sainz, sorry. Oh, you're back. Is that? So you think Ferrari won't be challenging next season? Am I right? Won't be trying. Why is that?
Basically, they're because their car's just awful this season, and their engine's awful. And because
you say it how it is, don't you?
Yeah. The new regs are coming in not next season, the season after. There's no point in them spending loads of money to improve the car for these regs, because they've got to change it the season after. So they're waiting until the new regs come in to throw loads of money at it to improve, basically.
Because of everything kind of going on at the minute, there's been a bit of a freeze on upgrades and stuff. So the cars next year are going to be very similar to the cars this year. They're only going to have slight upgrades to the car we already have, rather than a kind of whole new car being built from scratch for next season, to kind of save money, like people, resources, everything, just because we were quite unsure as to what was going to happen, just to provide a bit of security as well. So the car they're working with now can only get so much better, if at all better. So
yeah.
I was just asking that from a person who doesn't follow F1 as much as you two. Also, I've seen that there's going to be a new race weekend structure next season. Do you guys know about that?
Is it a potential? Is it?
Yeah.
Is that
the schedule of a race weekend is due to be revised, apparently.
Oh, I'm not sure. I know about they want to do the reverse grid qualifying, which I'm not keen on, but I don't know what your opinion is on that.
I'm not a fan. No.
Yeah.
What is that for someone who doesn't really know what that is, really?
So at the minute we have qualifying, all 20 cars go out and try and set the fastest lap possible, like one lap, how quick can you go? and then the quickest person starts on pole position, second fastest in second, etc., all the way back. However, for reverse qualifying, you do the kind of same thing, and then in theory, the fastest person would start 20th, second fastest person in qualifying would start. But you're just given an unfair advantage. It's like in football. In football, you don't give a rubbish team a goal start.
No.
Yeah. And I think the reason that because there was like discussions about that. The reason it came back is because Monza was all over the shop, and the lower teams did really well because the better teams like were basically had an awful race basically. So that was like twigged them and like, oh, it could be a good idea this, but the one thing that a problem with it is it benefits the second fastest and third fastest teams because they're not starting at the back, but obviously they're starting further back, but they're still further up the field, so they're able to go further than the fastest car is at the back. So it doesn't really make any sense to me personally. But I mean, it looks like they're going to try and persist with it, but Mercedes are opposing it at the moment, so I don't know how far it'll get.
I'm just thinking though, wouldn't it make drivers not drive as fast for their qualifiers? Because if you think about it, qualifying doesn't actually, like, if you get a slower time in that sense when you're doing reverse grid,
well, there's all
an advantage.
Yeah, there's all those factors, isn't there? That's why it's a bit dodgy.
Yeah.
I think the way that Formula 2 and 3 work it is that they then provide a point bonus. So in Formula 2, I think you get 4 points for getting pole position. So then you've got that incentive to get the quickest lap, but you then, like, it's very complicated when you actually start to think it through. And there needs to be like so many checks and balances to keep it, as you say, a system that you don't just then not try and qualify in.
Yeah, it is an odd one, but Mercedes are definitely opposed to it. So I think, like, were they saying they were going to try it near the end of the season or something, or is that still? Because I know in the new regulations, it doesn't have to be a unanimous decision, it's only a majority decision. So even if Mercedes opposed it, it could get passed or something.
I don't know the specifics. I know it was vaguely mentioned that they might have tried, or at the start of the season when we kind of were waiting on the season to get started, there was various discussions, and I think they were maybe wondering about trialling it at maybe Sochi, where we've just had, I think there was maybe a couple others that they were thinking of trying it at, but it just didn't really come to fruition and didn't quite happen. I don't know if they're still trying to get it through or not.
Yeah, it's a very, very odd one. I don't see, because obviously they say no, it makes it more exciting, but it's just it doesn't seem like what's wrong with the way it is now. It seems to be working fine. Like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, you know. But you know, they just want. Sometimes I think they just want to change something for changing its sake. Yeah.
General consensus is you both don't want it to happen.
No.
All right. Something else that I think I'm correct in saying, new sporting regulations where teams will be required to allow a driver who has competed in fewer than 2 Grand Prix to replace one of their race drivers in a Friday practice session over the course of the season.
I've not heard of that, but I guess it's a thing.
Do you know what that means, really?
I'm trying to think through. So at the minute, so this weekend, for example, we've got Callum Ilott and Mick Schumacher, who are the top two, or they're currently first and second in the F2 championship. They're driving in the Formula One FP1 this weekend just for practice. But as to that rule specifically, I would need to go and have a think and check out what they're actually changing. I don't know if they're trying to encourage more people, or what exactly that changing the rule would be saying.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I was doing some research before this podcast, and it came up, so I thought I'd mention it.
Yeah. I mean, that kind of alludes to the fact that there's quite a few seats available lower down the field where they are rumoured to be getting a seat, namely Alfa Romeo and Haas. I think, is it Hulkenberg is in the mix for them, those seats?
Yeah, Nico might, well, I don't think Nico's coming back. It doesn't really make much sense. He's rumoured for maybe Haas or the Racing Point seat as well, but I don't think so.
Yeah, but like there's going to be a few younger drivers, I think, getting a seat next season, which will be interesting, with Mick Schumacher being the son of Michael Schumacher and all that sort of stuff. I guess it's supposed to be like the next best thing for Ferrari, but I mean, his performance in Formula 2 suggests that he could, but whether that translates to Formula 1 is another thing. It'd be interesting. I don't know what you think about that.
Yeah, no, I really like Mick as a driver. I think he takes a wee minute to warm up. He's definitely, I don't think we can expect much in his first season in Formula One. I think it's pretty much out that he's signed for Alpha. So I don't think we can expect much this kind of first season in both Formula 3 and Formula 2. He did take that first season to kind of warm up, get himself kind of seated in the team and suited to the kind of racing style. But this year in Formula 2, he has really, really been so consistent. His starts are electric. Oh my goodness, he has had some like proper gold starts. If you've not seen a Mick Schumacher start, go and Google it. And I definitely think he has been, he's currently leading Formula 2, and it's just because he's been so consistent. He's not someone that always gets the wins, but he'll consistently get second, third, fourths, and wins as well, and just plays it really well. Whereas you've got the likes of Robert Schwartzman, Callum Ilott, who were looking really strong and getting those wins, and then had absolute horrors where they were like crashing out or engine failures, which to a great degree aren't their fault. But no, Mick Schumacher is definitely one to watch and has a good career ahead of him, I would say.
We can clip that for the future just in case. Just remember you mentioning Racing Point. Is that Aston Martin, but just with a different name?
Yes.
What is all that about?
So basically, the owner of Racing Point, Lawrence Stroll, whose son Lance Stroll races for them, so he's not going to have a seat, and he's not the greatest driver ever, so that's great. He invested in Aston Martin or something in there. I don't know to what extent, but he basically, Aston Martin sponsor Red Bull at the moment, but that's ending because he's investing in it to get the name for their team, because he's trying to sort of build the brand, which is why they've gone for Vettel as well, to get a bit of brand exposure and stuff. Obviously, he's a good driver as well. I might not have shown it as much recently, but that's part of the trying to get the Aston Martin brand out there in Formula One, because I think they've only raced in like 2 championships before, and it was like in 1958 and 59 or something like that. So it's a long time since Aston Martin have raced as a team.
So is this just because he invested in Aston Martin and brought it into Racing Point? All right. Are there any other names of racing teams that are actually called car companies underneath? You know?
Mercedes, Renault,
Yeah. Yeah. We could,
Ferrari.
yeah. We could. I was gonna just go back to Renault. How come we didn't want to talk about Alonso coming back to the sport?
I just can't be bothered for him. Is he not just, come on, he's had his time. He got bored. He's not got Indy, and he's given up on that, so he's just going to come back.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you could look at it in sort of a business decision for Renault. They're getting same as Aston Martin, promoting the brand, and they'll get more sponsorships in, so it's more money to invest. That, like, I'm just trying to play devil's advocate.
No, definitely. I just have visions of him at McLaren still, and GP2 engine and all that drama.
Yeah. But yeah, like it's not that like he's not gonna bring the money in, and you never know, he might even perform all right. But
well, maybe I'll be proved wrong.
But yeah, depends how good the Renault car is next year, really. I think they're doing okay this season, but I don't know if that's Ricciardo being fantastic or the car improving. Might be a bit of both. I don't know. Yeah.
We've spoken a little bit about engines in different cars. For example, McLaren getting a Mercedes-Benz engine next season, or they already have it
next season.
Okay. Are there any other changes in engines for different cars for next season?
The only one I can think of, I don't know if it's been. Actually, no, I can't think of any. I don't think.
Dornie?
This isn't really my forte, I won't lie. I'm not too sure. As far as I can think, is just McLaren.
Oh, okay. I don't know much, obviously, myself.
And then
seeing
the major one is Honda leaving, but that's the season after. So yeah, I think those are the only changes, really.
All right. Well, is there anything else you guys want to talk about next season?
I can't think of anything.
Okay. Well, I've got a little list here in my notes. I was going to get you guys to 10th to 1st, which team's going to place for where next season. I thought it might be interesting. Okay. I don't know.
I need to get the list of teams now.
So we got Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull, McLaren, Renault, AlphaTauri, Racing Point, Alfa Romeo, Haas, and Williams. Have I missed any out?
You might have started them in the right order there.
Oh. Oh dear.
No, I'll think about it.
We'll start with 10th. You guys can each give me who you think, and then we can talk about it. But if it could be literally as simple as that. So who do you think is going to be coming last next season?
I'll let Dornie go first.
So I think Williams are probably still going to be at the back. They are probably going to be doing a little better, but they've got that cash injection now. George and Nicholas are both kind of gaining confidence and definitely kind of know what they're doing now. But I think, especially with the kind of frozen development and stuff, they're going to be, unfortunately, at the back.
Yeah, I agree with that. It is unfortunate that they'll be in the back, because they're historically one of the top teams, but not happened for them recently. I think it's good that they've got new management, because I think they needed a new sort of sense of direction, new impetus. I don't think I've forgotten a name, but I think it was upset.
You're back.
I'm back.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think she was also. I forgot her name. It's the daughter of Frank Williams. Like I mean, she did her best, but I don't think she was the right person to take the team forward. But yeah, I think obviously there will be improvement because, like you say, they've got the new investment, but they're still going to be at the back because they've got a lot of catching up to do. Which I mean, I don't know. It's not really going to mean anything because the new regs coming in, so they'll have to just do it all again. But yeah, I can agree with Williams.
All right. Ninth place. Who you having? Dornie, do you want to go first again?
So I definitely think this depends on a couple driver lineups which are still to be confirmed. I think 8th and 9th is probably going to be Haas and Alpha. I don't quite know which way round, but I think based off Mick's kind of first year in seasons and then our first year in formulas and Kimmy as well, kind of winding down, I'll put Alpha in at 9th.
Okay. Do you agree with that?
I can agree with that, and I mean it's gonna be difficult for them next season as well because they've got Ferrari engine, so and that's not going to be improved. So they're going to struggle. So it's unfortunate for those teams because one, they've got a Ferrari engine that obviously it used to be okay, well, it used to be decent, but with Ferrari, Ferrari have so much more money than them, so they can still invest in the rest of the car. So they can, even though the car's awful, they can still, get out some results. But these lower teams who have less money don't have as much money to spend on the car, and then also a awful engine are going to do awful. And I mean, they don't have Charles Leclerc either, so he's working wonders with some of the results he's getting with that Ferrari car. So I think he's showing how good of a driver he is. So once Ferrari get a half decent car, he should be challenging, I think. I don't know what you think about that.
Yeah, no, I would agree.
Yeah.
All right, and so you're both putting Haas in 8th place.
Yeah.
They're just kind of similar with Alpha. Well, kind of not quite got the money to invest in their car, or I don't know.
I think it depends on who has signed. If they kind of be bold, they've got a chance of kind of pushing up to 7th, maybe, say if they sign Perez. But if they stick around with, I think, Magnussen and whether Ilot's getting in or not, I don't think they're going to be much further up than 8th.
Mm. Yeah.
7th place. Who are you putting in there, Dornie, do you think?
Oh, this is difficult. I think I'll be controversial and cause some drama here. I will put Yuki's coming in. I'll put AlphaTauri just because they've got another rookie coming in. I think they've got some potential, but I don't know. Who are you putting?
I was gonna lean AlphaTauri, but I mean, based on performance, they could quite easily. Like, you never know if they get a few results, they could quite easily get up to 6th. But yeah, I'll just about lean to AlphaTauri.
So who does that mean you're putting in 6th place?
I'll cause drama here. I'll put Renault in 6th.
I don't know if that's a shocking thing or not. I don't know. What do you think, Ben? You back?
It's just that Ferrari is so poor. That's why. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't think that Renault's car is going to be that much better next season. So, yeah. I'll go Renault. Yeah.
Okay. And fifth is
Probably Ferrari.
Yeah.
Ferrari. Wow.
Have you not been listening to the whole podcast?
Yeah, I have. I've been listening. It's just I'm not. I don't know.
Just saying, yeah, the car's awful, the engine's awful. Ferrari fifth, what?
Well, I don't know how good the other cars are. It could be
Better than Ferrari.
fair enough. But I'm looking at it like this, as in
Well, yeah,
Ferrari are obviously one of the top cars.
yeah.
Them doing awful, I thought would be like third or fourth, not fifth. So that's the difference there.
Yeah.
So I mean, you guys have spoken a lot. Well, I know Ben has definitely spoken a lot about how bad Ferrari have been this season. So you just don't think they'll improve enough to
No.
up.
Well, they're currently sixth this year.
Yeah. So it's like we're being nice. But I think Leclerc might I'll probably pull them up to fifth. I mean, Sainz will have that sort of new team impetus as well, so he'll probably want to be showing what I can do as well. But I don't just purely because the car's not good enough. If it was, they'd definitely be up there because the drivers they've got in are fantastic. But yeah, the car is just not good enough. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Fourth place. Who have you got, Dornie?
I'm trying not to be boring and just say what they are this year. Fourth place, I'm going to go with Racing Point, Aston Martin.
Okay. Any reason for that?
I just think it's going to be so close between the next three, and maybe just a little bit of Seb kind of settling into a new team, a bit behind the scenes change going on as well. But equally, I do think that they might be pushing up higher. I think it is going to be close between second, third, and fourth.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Lance Stroll could let them down a bit in that, but yeah, I'm trying not to be boring as well. But if McLaren weren't getting a Mercedes engine, then I'd probably put them fourth. But they're getting a Mercedes engine, so they've got to be up there. And they're another one of those historic teams who you'd like to see do well. And looks like they're on the way at least. Anyway, they're improving. Definitely should be up there anyway with a Mercedes engine. But yeah, I'll go Racing Point. Yeah.
Well, now is a 50-50 for second and third because we all know who's first. Who have you got in third then, Dornie? Who do you think?
I'll say Red Bull.
She beat me to it.
Causing some drama.
Yeah, I was gonna be like, yeah, I could be controversial. I'll be fine with that. Yeah.
Why is it controversial to put Red Bull in third?
Because they're the second best team at the moment.
Oh, okay. Pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Why do you think that they're gonna drop down to third, Dornie?
I don't know. I think Albon's almost settled himself into that team, and he has just about got there. But the whole Red Bull mentality and the fact that they're probably going to be kicking Daniel out, trying to get Yuki in, Yuri Vips, they're not going to have a clue what they're wanting to do with him, and they're just going to continue to be a mess, I'm going to say. And yeah, I just think McLaren is a lot more put together. And Honda, we'll say Honda will give up trying because they're leaving, so they won't be putting in as much effort in factory time. So just for the sake of being controversial, we're going to say that. Max Verstappen will crash into a wall before he even gets to the grid. There you go, there's another one.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that then, Ben?
Yeah, I can back that. I mean, that's not to say that Verstappen won't be challenging, but as a team, I can back them going third. And I've been saying it previously with McLaren and Mercedes engine, we're obviously going to have better pace than Red Bull in a straight line. So, yeah, I can back that.
So, of course, we got McLaren in second place. We've spoken quite a bit about them, so we can skip over that.
Ricciardo and Norris as the driver pairing as well. They're both decent drivers. So they should pull out some decent results next season, really.
And then Mercedes in first.
Yeah.
Ever a question?
No.
Okay.
Well, that's the end of that.
You didn't have to speak very much about that. So yeah, Williams in 10th, Alpha in 9th, Haas in 8th, AlphaTauri 7th, Renault 6th, Ferrari 5th, Racing Point, Aston Martin 4th, Red Bull 3rd, McLaren 2nd, and Mercedes first. So if anyone disagrees with what anyone said, do let us know in the comments. But then if you've agreed as well, we'd love to hear.
I think with Mercedes being first, it's a distant second for McLaren, but I think after the new regs, it'll be a lot closer. I don't know what you think about that.
Yeah. Hopefully we get another 2013 when we've got about 7 different winners. That'd be lovely. But yeah, I think it will be a lot closer. I'm still a bit skeptical if all our problems are going to be solved in 2022, but we can live in hope.
Yeah. More wishful thinking and sort of just being hopeful, basically. There might be a glimpse of competition, but yeah, that's fair.
Okay, well, I think we've covered lots on the as a preview for next season. You guys have given your predictions and chatted a lot about it. Let's start talking more about you, Dornie. We've got some questions we normally ask other YouTubers. If you want to answer, that would be great. Just like typical kind of questions we ask people. So, what event or person inspired you to get into YouTube, if there was one?
There honestly really wasn't one. I was just quite bored over lockdown and thought I'd try my hand at some new hobbies, thought I'd try editing, just give it a go because there wasn't much else to do.
Fair enough. That was we spoke about that a little bit before we got into the podcast, but yeah, kind of similar scenario to me and Ben, just a little bit bored over lockdown. And
it was more you. It's like
we
do this, and I was like, all right.
Yeah, so that was good. You got a question, Ben?
Yeah. Is the F1 Dornie channel your first channel? I'm guessing so.
Yeah, it's my first channel. Not really done anything before like this, so yeah.
Yeah, not like Tom then, who's had like 20 channels before this one.
No, thankfully not.
Yeah. If there is one YouTuber that inspires you the most, who would it be?
I don't know. I've never really thought of a YouTuber as inspiring. I don't know. I just think that everyone works so hard, or even just all the friends that I've made at the minute, like young all my mates just trying to start up as well, and like just seeing how hard they're working to try and get their platforms grown and kind of get a bit of a following. I think that's quite inspirational, and kind of sometimes it's easy when you're succeeding and you've got however many million followers to just keep going because you've got it already, but the graft kind of when you're starting up and to kind of keep going when you're getting X amount of views or like very few views and no one's really interacting. So I think it's nice to see that.
Yeah, I agree.
What was that, sorry?
Have you got a favorite thing, a particular favorite thing about doing YouTube, or is it just YouTube in general you enjoy, really?
No, it would probably just be like meeting new people, kind of making new friends, that kind of aspect of it, more than the kind of, or just even interacting with people that I'd never interacted with before, like in my comments, talking to people, and just like sharing a passion.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it's been nice kind of coming into the YouTube scene and meeting people who are as passionate about making videos and stuff like that and having them on, which is why we're thankful obviously to have you on today. Looking back at your relatively small, to be fair, but clearly successful YouTube career, what would you think was the most difficult part of it?
Oh, I don't know. Most difficult part. I mean, it's been a very steep learning curve. Just kind of learning it. I don't know how to make videos. I wouldn't say there's really been a difficult part, just because it's something that I've just done for fun in my own free time, and I've never really put myself under pressure for it. So
yeah,
I wouldn't say any of it's been difficult.
That must be nice. Yeah.
Has it been difficult for you?
Well, yeah, it's taken me how many tries?
Yeah, true. So, have you got any future goals for your channel, or just to continue what you're doing, really?
No, not at all. I've never really thought about hitting goals in terms of my channel or anything like that. I think this maybe sounds a bit not probably the answer you're looking for, but if I can kind of talk about it in like a job interview sense, or kind of show my initiative and kind of work it around and maybe help get a job from it, and just kind of show that I've got this initiative. So I think my goals are more if it's something that I can use to kind of advance my life and get myself into a position where I want to be in the future, rather than say I want X amount of subscribers or X amount of views or whatever.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's the best way to be, really.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's pretty much answered the question perfectly in a sense, because when we think about our questions we're going to ask people, we're not asking like subscriber goals. It's more like how you want to grow with the channel, if that makes sense, which you said. Is there anything else you want to speak about, Ben?
No, just hopefully everyone gets a bit more competitive soon.
All right, well, thank you, Dornie, for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me on. It's been lovely chatting with you both.
Yeah, it's been great. And for everyone listening, thank you for getting this far in the video. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. We're on the road to 400 subscribers. Leave a like if you enjoyed it. Dornie's link will be in the top of the description. Please go check her out. It's been a pleasure having her on, and we'll see you guys next Thursday at 4 p.m. Goodbye.